Hi everyone, I'm just popping on to do a video today about going no contact and the flying monkeys that are inevitably involved whenever you go no contact with a narcissist. And this one's for Deb Foster-Resnick, especially for you because you asked for it. So here it is. Now, the first thing that I didn't realise when I went no contact was the effect that it was going to have on my relationship with my whole family, because I started off going no contact with my father, and then because they came as a pair, that became my father and my mother, and then that escalated and spread in the whole of my family. So it became my brother and my half brothers, and then my aunts and uncles and my cousins, and now I'm actually no contact with the whole of my family, because I think it's so much to take on at once. I think that it's a very difficult thing to realise and to cope with. That it kind of, with me, it happened over the series of about a year. But the other thing is that when you go no contact, there will always be flying monkeys. There will always be either siblings or other family members that want to pull you back in to maintain the dynamic of the family, so they don't have to take the abuse of the narcissist. Or there will be other people who may be siblings or maybe friends or what have you, or other family members that just love the drama and will be the minions of the narcissist and will do exactly as they're told. So they will be given a message to send on to you, and it may look like they care, but actually they don't care. They don't care about you whatsoever. All they care about is either doing as the narcissist asks because they look up to them and they want to win some brownie points because they love the drama, or because they want to pull you back into the dynamic. So, and this is inevitable. This happens with every single narcissist. There's always somebody to do their dirty work for them. So the best case scenario is actually go through all your contacts in every form. If you go on social media, on your phone, anywhere where you have regular communication with people, and just to go through and just have a look and see who is it that's got my back, and keep them as a contact. Those that you even suspect may act on your narcissist family member's part, then block them, because the best thing is that you save these messages coming through and the stress that comes with it. And that might mean that your circle gets a lot smaller, but rest assured, none of these people have your back. There will not be a single one that will display any genuine concern about you in this situation. Their only concern will be for the narcissist. That will be it. And they'll try everything they can. They will try all the guilt tripping and all the obligation, and just to try and reel you back in, because perhaps previously it's worked. Then they know exactly what they're doing too, and they will have been told by the narcissist as well the little weaknesses that you have in order to try and wheedle you back in. Now, the thing about no contact is it means no contact, and that can mean with the narcissist themselves, or it can mean with the flying monkeys as well. So if you get any communication from the narcissist, or from anybody that you suspect is working on the narcissist's behalf, then forget it. Just don't react at all. And that can feel really, really counterintuitive, because we really want to get our side across, and we really want people to understand, and especially if these are family members, we want them to understand how we've been treated, how unfairly we've been treated. And sometimes we're seeking validation too, but you won't get that from these people. That's not in their interest to give it to you. They don't want to give you that. So any communications you get, any communications whatsoever, if you can't block it, so for example, Deb said that she was still getting letters from flying monkeys, then I suggest then if that happens, that you're still getting messages through from the narcissist through other people, is you get somebody that you know well and trust to open the letters for you, just to make sure there's no kind of warnings in there that they might come and see you in a week's time, or that they, I don't know, maybe they might be making some sort of threats in there that you actually need to be aware of. But other than that, the rest of it will just be nonsense. So therefore, this person can kind of screen it for you and just say, it's a load of nonsense, but they did mention they might be coming by on Tuesday. And then you can make a plan accordingly. And I think that's the best way. Just don't respond, because they will get bored. If you put anything you put into this, any reaction that you have, even if it's just a one-word text message or anything to them, is feeding them, either the narcissist or their flying monkeys, because they all need this attention in the same way. And anything you do to feed will just continue the circle. So effectively, anything that you do that is a response will continue this circle going on and on. They know, oh, that worked. Right, we'll try that again. We'll lay that on a bit thicker. We'll send another letter. Whereas if you just don't respond, then they'll get bored. And as concerns packages, now I've gone through this myself, unfortunately. Packages that are just sent to you with no tracking or anything on it, that's not signed for, so it just arrives to you with no signature required. There's not a lot you can do with them, and unfortunately that has to be when you pass that on to someone you trust to go through. And again, make sure there's no note or anything in there that you might need to know information. None of the guilt trips, none of that stuff. You don't need to know any of that, or none of the obligation or any of that kind of thing, but just to make sure there's nothing you really need to know. And then they can dispose of the contents for you. So what I used to do was give the stuff away to charity shops. It's whatever feels good to you to be a good thing to do. And then what happens with the tracking ones is don't sign for them. Refuse to sign for them. As I had an incident where my parents sent flowers and chocolates to me on my birthday, and my husband wasn't home, and I thought that the flowers were from him. So I signed for it. And then when I read the card, it wasn't from him, and that really made me cross. And then I discovered that the florist had phoned my husband to say about delivery, and of course he knew then it wasn't from them, and he knew it was from them, but knew it wasn't from himself, obviously, and he didn't cancel it. So what I did in that case was we took the flowers and the chocolates to an old people's home, a retirement home just up the road from us. And they put the flowers in the foyer for the older people to enjoy, and the chocolates went for the staff. And they were really confused about why we were doing it, but I just said, I don't want them in the house. I don't want them anywhere near me. So, anything you do is copable with. But definitely the only response with any narcissist flying monkeys is silence. Absolute silence. And it feels really wrong, especially when you're at the start of the journey, because you really want to get people to understand. But they don't want to understand. They know exactly what's gone on. They know exactly why you've got no contact. All of them, the flying monkeys and the narcissist. And there's nothing you can say or do that will make them understand it. You'll never get the validation from them that you're looking for. And the only way is to ignore them. Now, this is another thing that I did, was because I had a certain amount of anxiety over possible surprise visits by my parents, and most of it was rooted in my son, who was, he's 7 now, but he was 3 when I first went no contact. I didn't want him to see them, and the upset potentially that was there. So my husband and I came up with a code word, which was crocodiles. And I knew that if I got a text message or a voice message that just said crocodiles, I knew that I had to stay away from home until it was safe. And we actually had a plan. We worked out that what we would do if we weren't there and what we would do if we were there. Obviously, if we're not there, it's not such an issue. But in one case, my husband was there and I wasn't, but he told me to stay away, so I stayed away and then came back later. But on another occasion, they were there. They called when we were both there, and I just took my son from the front room, because unfortunately the whole of the front of the house was open to the road. So I took my son from the front room where they could see him into his bedroom. We started playing in his bedroom and we just ignored them. Got the dogs in from the back, locked the back door, made sure the front door was locked, and just hid until they left again. And I found it really reassuring to have a plan. So we knew if we got the knock on the door, or if we saw their car or what have you, that this is a plan. Get the dogs in, make sure that we were okay, get my son into his bedroom, which is at the back of the house, which they couldn't see, lock all the doors, make sure that everything was shut, and just hunker down and ignore it. And that's what we did. And I mean, they haven't called now for 2 years, but I'm now coming up for 5 years of no contact. So that's, I'm not saying that they didn't just give up, but it didn't take much for them to give up. And the only way was to ignore it, because any response is just feeding them, and they know then that works, and they'll just do it again and again and again and again. So I hope this video has been helpful to you, and I'll be looking at the other 2 subjects of videos and be doing them over the next couple of weeks.